Miles from Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark outside and we're wearing sunglasses, and we're track versus tracking or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say. Except I just started recording, so you just said it for me. It is track versus track. And I didn't want to learn any Blues Brothers quotes, so I let Matt do it for me. Yes, we're X number of miles from Chicago. We got a tank full of gas, and we're not wearing, none of us are wearing, we're all wearing glasses because we're old. And anybody on bifocals yet? Matt, Jesse? No?
Nope. Not yet.
All right. Getting close, I can tell. This is Track versus Track. We're joined again by Jesse Gavin, who recommended this album, The Blues Brothers, and Matt jumped right on it. I have to ask you guys, why the Blues? Why do you guys? Is it a Chicago thing? Is it a Chicago thing? You guys are both Chicago people, personas.
I mean, for me, I'll let Jesse talk more on this. For me, as a Chicago sports fan, it really doesn't have anything to me. Yes, this takes place in Chicago, but I just love Saturday Night Live era actors doing these movies in the early 80s. And I mean, you can't get any better than these two, and the music. So it's the acting and it's the music more than like the Chicago connection for me.
Jesse.
Although it is one of those great Chicago movies, I would also, and Jensen can chime in on this better than I can, I would wager to guess that it's probably one of the top two favorite movies of music educators, along with, I'm guessing the other one is probably Mr. Holland's Opus, for those that are a little bit more serious about themselves. But
School of Rock?
Yeah, okay, sure, I'll go with that. So we've got a top three. Okay. What is it about the Blues Brothers? I can't really put a finger on it. I think it's just one of those that if you're kind of our age, there's just a certain group of comedy movies, and this one brings music into it as well, that just by osmosis and having cable television in the mid and late 90s, you just saw them a lot. And you would have Blues Brothers, you would have Animal House,
He wore it.
Caddyshack, Ghostbusters, just again, like Matt said, a lot of those ones that came out of the National Lampoon Saturday Night Live kind of school of comedy. But then this one weaved in the music as well. And I think for a lot of people, myself being one of them, it was, your first real exposure to actual blues music, and some of the people that made it, that have cameos in the movie, not just the ones that we'll hear from later on, like Aretha Franklin, or talk about later on, Aretha Franklin and James Brown and Calloway, but also John Lee Hooker, who had a scene to himself in the film as well. And yeah, it's just, you either got a hold of it and it kind of was something that you continued to look for, or it just washed off you like water off of a duck, one way or the other. But it's I saw this one, I've got it as well, just like Matt does. I saw it in one of my local record stores, and I don't know if you can see on the tag, but $18, which I thought was very well spent.
I had fun listening to I had never listened to the Blues Brothers soundtrack. I've seen the movie maybe 2 or 3 times. Top 5 SNL movie for me, by default. Let's get started. Track 1 is She Caught the Katy, which just features the Blues Brothers. I don't have my list numbered, but Matt, do you want to kick us off? This seems like a very Matt track.
Yeah, I'll kick it off. And just a reminder to our viewers out there, if it's in our top 3, we're going to just say it's in our top 3. And then at the end, we'll reveal where it is in our top 3. So this song is a top 3 for me. It's got this slow build during the introduction. And, the musical term for that is, of course, crescendo. And when those horns kick in, bam, bam, you just know you're in for a wild ride and such a treat. This is definitely a Jake feature. Mr. John Belushi. This is kind of his, I think, real shining moment. It kicks off the album. The horns are smoking. there's that chugging sound with from like the acoustic guitar that goes in, and it's just a nonstop power punch. I freaking love this song. I've often started the album on track one and rode the whole album out, but a lot of times I'll hit previous song and listen to this one a couple times because I just absolutely freaking love it. And I mean, and if you take it into context with the movie too, what an amazing cinematography that occurs during that. And yeah, top three, no doubt for me.
Jesse, is it in your top three?
It is not. And for some of the same reasons Matt mentioned, but it's just, a difference in taste. Because it is such a slow burn, just that real steady, easy groove, I thought it was a bit of an odd choice. For if we're taking the album as an album, it's a bit of an odd choice for a track one, side one. Now, as Matt also said, if you're taking the album as a movie, it makes a lot of sense for that opening, the opening credits, the introduction where you're learning who some of the characters are, and it fits a little bit better there. So, I mean, that's something that we'll probably all go through our different methods of how we looked at things, but because there is a little bit of a difference in looking at it as a movie versus as an album.
So what's your number?
It's last for me. It was 11.
Oh, wow. Awesome, man. No, I love that. That's great. Wow.
So that is, I thought it was I think there's a couple stinkers in here. And so that's why I was like, because I think this is a very competent song. I think the Blues Brothers themselves are they're competent. I think the whole gag of the Blues Brothers is you don't expect the bassomatic guy and the samurai to be good at playing the harmonica. And that's all there is to it. And the movie has jokes. The movie's okay. I don't remember this song in particular in the movie. But just to say that the Blues Brothers tracks typically aren't as good as the cameo tracks for me. And even though I like this track, it's number 6. Yep, number 6. And I don't remember where it is in the movie, so that doesn't factor in. Number 2 is one. Are you guys pep band people? I could tell, Matt's swatting something away, but I bet Matt played in many a pep band. Jesse,
Absolutely.
You were on the court probably, swishing threes.
No, my biggest experience, more of my experience with pep bands is trying to negotiate my commercial breaks around them when I was calling high school basketball games, and usually had to share the stage with them in many a gymatorium all around North and East Central Iowa.
Fair enough, but regardless, you've probably heard your share of the Peter Gunn theme. Where does the Blues Brothers interpretation rank for you?
It is not in my top 3. I have it as number 8. Again, when you stack this up as a record itself, to have that opener and then come back right after it with an instrumental with no vocals whatsoever, it's a bit of an interesting turn. But it is, there were probably other instrumentals from the film they could have added to the soundtrack if they had more space than just the 12-inch vinyl. But this I think is the one that's best known. If I remember right, this was used in the trailer along with some snippets from some of the cameos. So it's one of those songs, and definitely the most of the instrumentals that I kind of associate with the movie The Blues Brothers.
It's my number 8 as well. It's a competent cover of the Peter Gunn theme if I ever choose to listen to it, and that's the record I have. I don't own this record, but I could see playing this one if I ever needed it and wanted to have a little inside joke for people who'd catch that's the Blues Brothers version. Matt, where is it for you?
Yeah, we're all about in the same place. I actually have it just one spot lower than you guys. I have it at number 9. Yeah, I played this every time I played pep band. It was like mandatory. And Jesse, the other instrumental is that "Can't Turn You Loose," which I prefer, which is that dan 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 dan, which is crazy.
More iconic, yeah.
That in more iconic, played more frequently in the movie, and it's not like associated with the television show. I mean, I do love the Peter Gunn theme though, and when we did Jacob the B-52s album, that Planet Claire, I said it kind of gives off those Peter
Secret
Gunn
Agent, man.
vibes. And yes, and Jesse, when you're talking about the trailer, I could just picture like the Carrie Fisher, like, you know, cameo there, and it's like ooh la la, Carrie Fisher with Peter Gunn. So yeah, it's perfectly fine. Short track, good minor song, because pretty much everything in this on the soundtrack is in a major key, except for maybe this and Rawhide. The two theme songs, that's crazy. They're the two minor songs. Yeah, it's number 9 for me.
Matt, you're gonna have to give me some trivia too when you tell me who "Give Me Some Lovin'" who's the original artist.
Spencer Davis, man.
Wow.
Spencer Davis Group with a young Steve Winwood on vocals and organ. And
I knew
man,
you would know.
what a classic song that is, just in terms of the original version of that. Like this song, I like this version too. This is another John Belushi feature, Jake Blues feature. Don't like it as much as the Spencer Davis Group though, because as great of a singer as Belushi is, you know, he's no Steve Winwood. Very, very few people are though. But I have this one kind of right in the middle. I have this at number 6, but I like it. Good energy.
Jesse, where is it for you?
Same spot. I've got it at number 6 as well. I also could have told you it was a Spencer Davis Group cover.
Okay, I should have given you the chance.
I could not have given you the Steve Winwood backstory as well. Another thing, kind of piggybacking off of what Matt said, I kind of felt like the vocals on this version, the mix was a little off. Like the vocals just didn't shine as much as I remember them doing in the movie. But maybe they're not supposed to. Maybe they're trying to make it a showcase for the horns, which it very, very much is.
Mm-hmm.
I have it lower than the two of you. I have it down at number 9. I'm wondering, I probably should have it flipped with Peter Gunn, which was my 8, but it's a song, it's a competent cover. That's kind of where the Blues Brothers are for me, competent covers. And it's just a song I don't like as much as some of the others. Including, I will say, track number 4, which is Shake a Tail Feather, which features Ray Charles, and I already hinted that the ones with the cameos would probably be a little bit ahead of the ones with just Jake and Elwood. It is in my top 3 because you can't with Ray. It's Ray Charles. Come on, I feel bad to rank too much of the Blues Brothers above this one. Is it in either of your guys' top 3, perhaps? Matt's?
In my top 3 for sure. Yeah, I mean, just when he sits down at that electric piano, there ain't nothing wrong with us, and he just rips it. Oh my God. And Charles' voice is just, he's still in his prime. The dude's freaking ancient, even in this movie. And he still just sings like a bird, and he's playing these keys in that horn section, just ripping in between any little empty space, you know, because it's kind of starts off sparse, but well, I heard about the you've been oh, the horn arrangement on this song is killer. You know, and then the build up to the bridge, you know, bend over, let me, and they stack it, bend over, let me shake it, you know, oh, come on, and then I mean, this makes me get up and dance just like they do in the movie, those cheesy dance segments, you know. I seriously get up and shake my tail feather when I hear this song. Yes, top 3. Absolutely, no doubt about it.
Matt's description of the song is in my top 3. That was that was crazy. I don't need to see the movie ever again. I'm just gonna watch it. All right, Jesse, you said it's not in your top 3. Is it close?
That's what the people pay for right there. It is very close. It is just outside of my top 3. I have it at number 4. I agree with Matt. In my notes, I said, just try to force yourself to sit still, to not at least tap a toe, bounce a knee, anything during the song. I would defy you to do that because I don't think it's humanly possible. Again, both on the album and in the movie, the cameos we've mentioned, Ray Charles sets the bar as high as it can possibly go, being the first one out of the gate.
We talked about some iconic Blues Brothers tracks. I think this has got to be one of the most iconic. It's on the short list. Everybody Needs Somebody to Love. Just Jake and Elwood credited here. It's my number 4. I like it a lot. It's iconic. It's probably my best of just a little bit of a spoiler of just the Blues Brothers. Is this one? Someone to Kiss? Well, I don't know the words. I'm not going to try and sing it, but yeah, it's great. It's great, Jesse.
Kiss.
Yeah, I know. If I say I'm not gonna, he's gonna. Jesse, where's it for you?
It is. It's in my top three. It is. Like you said, iconic. One of the ones that you remember walking out of the theater or after you've seen the movie on your in-home television or whatever your setup might be. I would say it's one of the best combinations of the Jake and Elwood back and forth. I don't think we get a lot of that, just them, but them duetting. It feels like there's always a cameo, or maybe it's one has the stronger piece than the other in a lot of the songs. So this, I felt like, was the best combination of their vocals on the entire record.
Matt, does it round out your top three?
Yes, it does. Well said, Jesse. Once again, has that kind of a crescendo. It starts kind of do 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 do, and then Jake's Elwood's got that great little introduction, that little narrative there. And Jake's voice on this is fantastic. And I love the bridge that sometimes I feel a little sad inside. Well, baby mistreats me. You never hide. I need you. Oh man, this one gets me moving too. I just absolutely love this one.
Well, and
the
tip of the cap to all the members of the Illinois law enforcement community that have joined them as well. That's a great touch.
All right, back to Cameo Land. You have an actual. You two have an actual album. Are we near the end of side A yet? Have we flipped sides?
One more.
We are coming to the final track of side one. Old Landmark is the final track of side one.
Yeah. So yeah, track 6 is the Old Landmark. I think Everybody Needs Somebody to Love would have been a great closer for a track, but this would be a weird one to end on, or to begin a track or a side on. I mentioned I love the cameos, but if we're looking at this as an album, as something someone would choose to listen to for recreation, I'm skipping this. It's fun to see James Brown as, a preacher or whatever in a movie, but I don't want to listen to it. It's my number 11, if that's how many tracks there are on this. Same with you, Matt.
Yeah, I hate the song. And it's produced
Jesse, do you?
Too. It's like they had the microphone in the back of the church, and you're getting this like weird echo effect. Yeah, I love James Brown. Who doesn't? But and he in the context of the movie, it's fine. But yeah, listening to it on the album, oh my God, I always skip this song. And I even listen to it a couple times a day just to confirm that. And the production is so bad that's the nail in the coffin for me on this one.
Yeah, I'm with both of you. It's my number 10, far from my top three. Again, Jacob, like you said, if you're taking it in totality as an audio album, as a record, all these blues tracks, and then you get a real, unknown kind of deep cut gospel tune. It feels like very much an outlier and a departure from the rest of it. And it just the visual during the movie is what really makes this, because you see the acrobatics and you see the light shine into the church and Jake have his conversion. That's what makes this scene. And again, when it's audio alone, we don't get any of that, and it takes away. And I would agree with what Matt said also about the production just not really helping the cause at all.
Yeah. Now we flipped it to side B, and we come up with a much better cameo. It's Aretha. Well, not saying James's cameo was bad, but sonically not so much. We have Aretha as the waitress singing "Think." Again, in my top three. It's not as good as the original recording. That's the only thing. I mean, the quality. I mean, the original recording, if you listen to it, it sounds old, but that's part of the patina that we come to expect from it. We love it. It's not my favorite Aretha song either, but it's still "Think." And I'm not going to give it not a spot in my top three over these white boys here. So Aretha in my top three. None of your top threes, I'm guessing, though. No.
It's in mine. It's in my top
good.
three.
All right.
If there's anyone that says it's not in theirs, I will shout at them, "Don't you dare blaspheme in here," because that's one of the lines from the book. 4 fried chickens and a Coke, 2 pieces of dry toast. How can you beat this? It makes it's great in the movie. It's great on the soundtrack. The only thing that I will say is that the audio recording, and I think there must have been a little bit of a disconnect between what came through in the movie and what was put on the soundtrack, because this version compared to the one on film just does not, there's just a little bit of electricity that it's missing. There's just something. It just does not have, it doesn't go all the way to 11, if I can borrow a term from another great movie about music. So it's in my top 3. I will say that. But there's things that I think could have made it a little bit better.
Where is it, Matt?
No, I have it at number 7. Not because I don't like it. And some of these middle
Don't you dare blaspheme in here!
He said he would do it.
He did.
He said he would do it.
He followed through for sure. Yeah, I mean, we talk about this, Jacob, all the time. Like some of these middle, you usually have a pretty well-established top 3 and bottom. And sometimes these middle ones, like, could it be even possibly? So being that it's a 7 doesn't like it. And Jacob, you said, you took the words right out of my mouth. Not as good as the original, not even close. And Jesse, you took the other talking point. The production's not very good. It totally owns on film, but for whatever reason, when you listen to it in the context of the album, it loses something. And I don't know exactly what that is. If that was like a recording thing or when they pressed it to vinyl, I don't know. Yeah, she's the best singer of everybody on this entire recording, and possibly this is the best song. But as a soundtrack and as a track from this particular one, I just kind of find it in the middle somewhere for me. I guess I like the Blues Brothers tunes more than you guys apparently, the ones that feature their voices, but because I think I'm just totally connected to the film and that. But yeah, it's number 7, and it's funny because when they did the Blues Brothers 2000. She does Respect, and it's the same thing. Like, I don't really like that they're doing she's doing her own like famous tunes. I kind of like the fact that you get, James, even though that James Brown song is crappy, he's not doing, I feel good. He's not doing that. He's doing something completely different. And same with Ray Charles. I don't know if he did Shake Your Tail Feather previously, but I definitely don't associate him with that song outside of the Blues Brothers. So that's kind of annoying to me that she's like, oh, she's doing her hits and it's for the movie for doing it. So I don't know. I'm just trying to justify why I don't have it in the top 3 because it's a great song and in the movie it's great, but I have it at number 7.
I think you did it. We've already mentioned it. Track 8 is the theme from Rawhide. I've never played this in Pep Band though, so it doesn't have the fondness for me as the Peter Gunn theme. How about you, Matt? Have you ever had to play this in one of your cover bands?
No, but it's been a karaoke thing. Like someone will pull it out and it owns. If you do this song in karaoke, just like at the in the movie scene, they play this because everyone's hating what they're playing, and then everyone's just into it, But no, I never played it at Pep Band, and I like it just fine. I actually have it above Peter Gunn, but just by one spot. It's number 8 for me.
I didn't say it's like 10. Yeah.
I've got it at number 9, pretty far outside the top 3 for me as well. Again, great thing if you want to settle down a rowdy honky tonk crowd, but compared to the rest of the album, it just doesn't stand up.
I'd never choose to listen to it if given the choice. Calloway joins the Blues Brothers for track 9 for the showstopper Minnie the Moocher in my top 3. I don't remember much about the movie. It's been a few years. I remember this scene. I love listening to it on the album. I think it owns. I think the Heidi Highs own. I think the Hody Ho's own. Top 3 for me. Jesse.
It is not in my top 3. I have it at number 5, and I think that's just a product of how much killer and little filler there is on this album. I'm with you, Jacob. Matt may even remember this about me. I love a good call and response. I love a good call and response tune, and this certainly is one. Great with the horns too, especially the trumpet with the, I don't know what the thing is called, the holdover. I would call it a muffler. I know that's probably wrong, but
plunger.
Yeah.
A plunger.
Just called
It's just a plunger, yeah.
Oh, well, that's a common word too. I should come up with that, but so it's definitely top half, but not top 3 for me.
Matthew.
Jesse, do you remember when we used to go and carouse and we'd go karaokeing quite a bit. I used to do this song quite a bit. Do you remember that?
I do remember that, and that's why I'm pretty positive it's in your top 3.
Well, it would be if I hadn't already picked my top 3. It's actually my number 4 for that reason.
Wow.
And I feel like I wanted to put it in my top 3, and it was at one point, but I knocked it off because I felt like it's too novelty. I couldn't justify kind of this song and dance man routine on a Blues Brothers album. Like it's too different. But for that, but that's why I love it so much, though. It probably could have gotten in my top 3, and maybe the burnout factor of me having been like doing this song for karaoke for years. But yes, the call and response thing is great. That trumpet, Mr. Fabulous, right? The trumpet player. Isn't that his name, Mr. Fabulous, or Mr.
I believe so.
Because there's one of the sharks on Shark Tank goes by Mr.
That's Mr. Wonderful.
Oh, oh yeah.
Yeah, Mr. Fabulous.
We should have a conversation. We should rank sharks some episode. I think that would be worthwhile. The ghost of Cab Calloway is going to. I'm assuming he's dead. I don't really know. Is going to. He's long. He died after this movie. Right afterwards.
Pretty much.
Pretty much. Okay.
Yeah, oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm not laughing at his death. I respect to the Calloway family. Number. I dug myself into a hole there. Number 10.
Pretty clearly too soon, Jacob.
Too soon. The audience is yelling. Oh boy. All right.
Kids are also dead by now too, probably.
Number 10, another iconic. We started the conversation, me asking if this was a Chicago thing. This certainly is. It's Sweet Home Chicago. Ending the album. I mostly associate Jesse with Chicago more so than Matt, so I don't know why. You just have a Chicago personality. Where does it rank for you?
Not sure whether to take that as a compliment.
I don't know either.
It's in my
like
top
hot
3.
dogs. You hate ketchup. It's the whole thing. Yeah.
It's very much in my top 3. Iconic is a good word for it. It's also very. It's a great crescendo piece with terms of in the track list of the album, but also in the movie. It really sets up that last the gap between that last big performance number and the car chase finale to the movie where they go and actually pay off. Sorry, spoiler alert, pay off the Penguin's debt for nearly 45-year-old movie. So yeah, I think it works on both of those things. It is also a cover. It's one of the oldest blues tunes that there has ever been, but it's put together really well, and not necessarily just because of the vocals. It's everything else, the rhythm, the horns, the piano. It all kind of comes together on this track for me.
It's a track I like. It's my number 5, though. I don't think I'm going to have anything new to say about it, though, other than it's one of the better just solo Blues Brothers tracks. Matt, you're losing your Blue Sky.
Yeah.
5. We're 5-ies.
Yeah, we're 5. I like this. I was debating between this one and Everybody Needs Somebody, which I have in my top 3. Because they're kind of similar songs, I guess, and I think I just prefer that one over Sweet Home Chicago. I think if you'd asked me this 25 years ago when I was in high school, I think Sweet Home Chicago might have been my favorite because I was obsessed with this song for a while. And then that Briefcase Full of Blues, the Sam and Dave song, I'm a soul man. I'm a soul man. This kind of gives me the Sweet Home Chicago vibes. That was, those two songs I loved a lot. And I think it just kind of got burnt out on it a little bit, but it's great. Matt Murphy, Donald Duck Dunn, the great trombone solo in here too. Fantastic. Bones Malone, right? Who also plays saxophone, which is crazy because you think of Lou Blue Marini as the sax player, but Bones Malone, Tom Malone, plays sax and he plays trombone. So switching between a woodwind and a brass, that's pretty damn versatile there. Steve Cropper, though, just what an amazing house band. I mean, these are the Who's. We talk about these special guests, but take away Aykroyd and Belushi, that house band. Oh my God, Willie Hall. Just did I say Donald Duck Dunn? Did I forget him? The great bass work on this song. Oh my God, it's the living legends. I mean, a lot of them are still alive. Matt Murphy just died not too long ago, and Duck Dunn died about 10 years ago. But Steve Cropper's still kicking. So is Lou Marini.
They should do a Blues Brothers 3000 with the survivors. And yeah. Last track. We already gave away the ending, but this is an additional spoiler alert. It's a cover of Jailhouse Rock. I am an Elvis man. So this is higher than some of the other covers, even though it's probably not the best interpretation. It's number 7 for me. Sweet Home Chicago would have been a better closer for the album, honestly, if we're talking sequencing. But it's not the last song of the movie. So that's where we're at. Who wants to go? I'll go, Jesse.
I've got a number 7 as well. Also, it's an interesting take. It's not, kind of like you said, not exactly faithful to the Elvis version, but you wouldn't have expected them to go in that route either, for that matter. I think Jacob, as the I'll give you the nod as kind of our cinema expert of the group. If you're putting a song over the closing credits, you're kind of expecting about half people to only see about half the song. So
that's true.
I think this, I think this is a fine choice for that purpose.
Matthew.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Elvis fan. I'm not an Elvis hater, but I got this at number 10. Just seems like
he didn't write it, so it's you're not bashing him.
I mean, Belushi does a great vocal on it, though. I will say, I think I actually like Belushi singing it better than Elvis. I know that's sacrilegious, right?
Yes.
But he really sells it. Just, I don't know. It's just like, come on. This is the most like cliche freaking rock and roll cover you could do. It's just, I put it ahead of the Old Landmark only because that sucks. But if it wasn't for that, I'd stick this one dead last, but it's number 10.
All right. Jesse, as our guest, what were your top 3 in order from 3 to 1?
From 3 to 1. Number 3 was Think. Number 2 was Everybody Needs Somebody to Love. And number 1, probably predictably by both of you two, was Sweet Home Chicago. Yes.
We had the same 3. It was Think by the Blues Brothers and Aretha Franklin. Number 2 was Shake a Tail Feather featuring Ray Charles, and my number 1 was Minnie the Moocher by Calloway. R.I.P. Matt.
Yeah, Jake, I really thought about putting that one as my number 1 too, but it didn't even make my top 3. My number 3 is Everybody Needs Somebody to Love. Jesse had that in his top 3. I got my number 2 is She Caught the Katy. I'm just absolutely floored that you gave it some respect there, Jacob, by putting in the middle, but Jesse,
I like it. Yeah, that is
blows my mind that got last. You put the Old Landmark ahead of that. That just blows my freaking mind. Seriously, I love it though. That's me. That's why we do track versus track. I mean, not only does it get us talking about music, but the fact that we don't probably say this enough, Jacob. We do not share our rankings of these songs beforehand. This is completely organic and improvised, and we do not know what each other's picks are. So it's fun for us. I mean, you saw some sincere, genuine surprise from me, and I can't wait to actually see that. So that's my number 2, and it almost was my number 1. So, but my number 1, I had to be true to myself, and as a keyboardist, as a piano player, I could never do Ray Charles dirty by putting him any less than number 1. Come on, that song is just. And Jacob, you put that as number 2, so that's some props.
That's great.
Guess you put that number 4, right?
And 4, yeah.
So I think if we probably averaged out these tracks, that might have gotten the best score overall. Everybody Needs Somebody to Love would probably be pretty high too, but yeah, I'd love
sure.
Feather.
I'm not going to spin the wheel this episode. Instead, I'm just going to ask you, best SNL movie? Is it this or is it Wayne's World? Or is it MacGruber?
Yeah,
Stuart Saves His Family?
We talked a lot about SNL, but we should also kind of talk about the genesis with these two guys. Second City Chicago, Second City Toronto.
Yeah, I knew Aykroyd was Canadian.
Yes,
And,
Second City, Toronto, Second City, Chicago, and then when Lorne Michaels started the very first cast of Saturday Night Live, these were like his first call guys. He considered him number one from Chicago, and he was number one from the Toronto Second City, and John Candy was his second ask, but John Candy stayed with Second City, and then they kind of featured him with Second City Television, same network too, both NBC, both premiered the same year, one after the other.
Yeah.
Best Saturday Night Live movie. Yes, for me. Mm-hmm.
Blues Brothers is.
Yes. If I had, but I don't really necessarily consider this a Saturday Night Live movie.
It's tough because they weren't sketch characters.
Because I think of that more as something starting like in the 90s as like a Saturday Night Live movie because it was a sketch thing that they had. But in terms of like my favorite movie of characters, lead characters from SNL, yeah, this would probably be my favorite.
Jesse?
While I bide my time with my answer, I would also throw out a little trivia piece in that I believe the original band leader for the Blues Brothers when they were on Saturday Night Live was Mr. Paul Schaefer, of all people. So later of the David Letterman show fame. I mean, it's the old joke that most Saturday Night Live movies don't do that well. Like, so, I mean, if you're really boiling down to ones that started as sketch characters and then got a feature film, really it's either this or Wayne's World, but that's really the only competition, is it not? I think I would go with.
If you haven't seen MacGruber, you need to rectify that. But oh, come on, you're not a. Okay.
It's good, yeah, but
MacGruber's great.
It's not in the same ballpark as Wayne's World and the Blue, in my opinion. I'm with Jesse.
I put Blues Brothers behind Wayne's World 2, and MacGruber.
So
solid 4.
This is a conversation for a different time and probably a different podcast. But in my experience, they had a hard time sustaining the MacGruber joke over a 4-minute sketch, much less a 90-minute movie. So sorry,
they blow it up.
I've upset both of you already. First with She Caught the Katie, and now with that take. So
only offended me.
So
Matt doesn't care about MacGruber.
So in that case, I will wish you all well after my final appearance on your podcast here.
Well, we better say goodbye to everyone. Thank you for watching. We'll be back with more track rankings and track versus tracks. Bye-bye.
They will.
Subscribe.
We will. Not Jesse.
He'll be
he
back.
killed the Katie.